Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. I want to make a couple of announcements. Number one, the Edge Growth butter is officially out and it's listed on Etsy. It comes in an 8 ounce and a 4 ounce. I finally got my labels, so I have it all out there. So if you are suffering from thinning edges, and you want them to come in thicker. And technically, it can be used all over your head and you would still get hair growth. But if you have like thinning spots or thinning edges, this stuff is great. I used it on my edges and trust me, it works. So if you are interested, it is listed and you will find it. And I also have it as a featured item. So you'll definitely find it on my Etsy site. All right. We're going to talk about the raid on Canal Street. Canal Street's down there by Chinatown in New York City. And usually you have all these vendors selling counterfeit things on Canal Street. Used to be a lot of Asians back in the day, but now it's Africans, Caribbeans, East Indians. It's like really a melting pot there. But the Asians are still out there strong as well. Well, they had a massive raid out there. And for like the past few days, nobody has been out there selling at all. It has been bare. But trust me, those vendors are coming back because for many of them, selling that fake stuff is their way of life in New York City. So we're going to look at what happened. Yeah, a lot of Africans got nabbed. You'll see when I show you the video. A lot of the Africans got taken by ICE. So that is really a hot spot in New York. In fact, it's almost unheard of. Anybody that lives in New York knows about Canal Street. Practically everybody in New Jersey knows about Canal Street. And it is definitely one of those busy places that many people go to. I've been down there a couple of times. Me and a couple of friends would come together and we would just go down there around that area, Canal Street. So been there forever. All right, y'all, let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
But first, breaking news in a wild scene in Chinatown. Federal agents conducting an enforcement on illegal vending on Canal Street. Newscapture 7 first over the scene at 4 p.m., capturing pushing and shoving in the middle of the street. And right now, we have the first live pictures on the ground.
Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang there with brand new video of the chaos that played out. Lucy.
Well, that's right. It was a very tense scene here on Canal Street. Lafayette is behind us. Now, normally this stretch of Chinatown is filled with vendors on the sidewalk selling all sorts of what we believe are fake designer goods, T-shirts, pocketbooks, perfume, watches, anything, you name it. But today it was a very different scene. You see this vendor behind me, packing up their wares right now. They tell me that they have been approached by federal agents this afternoon. The other vendors have cleared out. We believe this is part of an ongoing federal investigation into illegal vending here on Canal Street in Chinatown. We believe ICE agents, Homeland Security, FBI were involved in this joint investigation. We don't know if they were coordinating with the NYPD. We don't have that information at this moment. It did get very hot on the scene here as crowds then circled around the agents trying to prevent them from arresting anyone. There was shoving. We saw someone knocked to the ground. We saw a lot of heated emotions out here. There was a lot of cursing at the officers. There was pushing, and we did see at least one person taken into custody, put in handcuffs. Again, this is part of an ongoing federal investigation into illegal vending. The vendors here behind me tell me they were asked to show their passports to prove that they should be here, that they are here legally. And we don't know where they have taken these people to. We don't know where they've gone at this moment, but we are told by vendors that this has been ongoing today, but it really did get very heated tonight just as we approached the scene. We're live in Chinatown. I'm Lucy Yang for Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
I've never been more proud to be a New Yorker than watching New Yorkers' response to ICE going after the vendors on Canal Street. For those of you that don't know, Canal Street is a infamous, popular tourist destination basically in New York City where you can find counterfeit goods, usually sold by Senegalese men who work for Chinese people, and vice versa. People who usually crack down on Canal Street is the local NYPD, but
wait till y'all get to the Bronx. Yeah, wait till you get to the fucking Bronx.
Well, yesterday afternoon, ICE rolled up through New York City with tanks, men in masks, heavily armed guards with AK-47, automatic rifles, all things you don't need for guys who are hawking a fake Louis Vuitton bag on the street corner and minding their business.
The fuck out of New York. The fuck out of here. Fucking bitch.
Here's Tuesday, a right-wing political commentator with Turning Point USA, Sarah Hernandez, posted something on social media tagging ICE, saying that you should come check this out because it seems like they're all from Senegal.
New York City. And okay, my friends, I was just driving down the street. I was Ubering and I saw this huge market of African migrants selling all of these bags along this sidewalk.
The point of this video is that people are tired of ICE, are tired of this administration. People are tired of the unilateral dictator style decisions that Trump is making. And no one wants a militarized force going through the streets to, one, target men who are minding their business, two, scare the actual citizens around them. Because don't make no mistake, this is all fear tactics, right? You send in the military against Americans in America to scare them into following the orders of the military. Yeah, but New Yorkers wasn't having it. They were not having it. They were not having it. And I think between New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, just a lot of cities that have people who are like, you know what, actually, fuck this. We're not going to let this go any further. I think ICE will have a hard come to Jesus moment if they continue to go through New York, because New Yorkers are not going to lay down and let them just come in and just ruin the neighborhood. Because these people are ruining neighborhoods. They're disrupting neighborhoods, all with our federal tax dollars that we have no say in how it's being used to terrorize Americans in America. Funniest thing is if Republicans, Trump and the right were trying to sabotage Mamdani's, this was just actually a nip in the bud for New Yorkers. Anyone that will fight against this authoritarianism is the person that New Yorkers want. It never makes sense. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, MAGA. Make it make sense.
Chaos on Canal Street. A planned federal operation in New York City's Chinatown erupted into a volatile confrontation Tuesday as masked, heavily armed federal agents descended on the busy corridor. The Department of Homeland Security called it a targeted operation focused on criminal activity related to counterfeit goods. The joint sweep was led by ICE and reportedly involved multiple agencies, including the FBI, ATF, and DEA. But the heavy military-style presence quickly drew an angry response from New Yorkers. Bystanders and protesters swarmed the agents, shouting and attempting to block their vehicles. The scene escalated, with reports of agents using batons and pepper spray as they moved to make arrests. Agents were seen tackling and detaining multiple street vendors. In the turmoil, several protesters were also arrested. federal officials confirmed at least one person was charged with assaulting a federal officer during the chaotic melee. The raid sparked immediate condemnation from local and state officials, who called it federal overreach that creates fear, not safety. The NYPD confirmed it had no involvement in the federal operation.
This was Canal Street on Tuesday afternoon, when federal ICE agents descended on the block known for street vendors, arresting 9 of them and 4 protesters. Now, this was Canal Street on Wednesday, pretty much a ghost town. Many of the usual vendors had disappeared. Some of them arrested and some of them just too scared to come back. But some spoke to us about what they saw and how they felt.
And this is America, the country that everybody run to, the country people go to. When they feel safe in America.
And he asked me ID again. I said, am I committing any problem? And he took off. Why did you call for your fake? Will you hire the employee to call for the fake and go out there to harass people? I want to see what you look like.
The Department of Homeland Security said they made these arrests because some of these people were involved in criminal activity. One of those detained was Abubakar Diakite, and those who knew him said he never did anything wrong.
I know him. I know him for the last 25 years. I see him every day. He's a hard-working man. He go to work and go home. He have a vendor's license. He's not illegal or selling fake like they said on the news in the first time. No. This man sells several cases, and he's been doing it for the last 16 years that I know.
The vendor still on the street Wednesday said the whole thing had left them totally shaken.
What if Abu was me? What would happen to my kids?
Like and follow our coverage for updates.
An ICE raid on Canal Street in New York City sparked protests among locals. Earlier this week, ICE agents conducted a raid on the busy shopping area, known for its low prices and counterfeit goods. The operation followed recent videos posted by 2 pro-Trump influencers, highlighting African immigrants selling merchandise along the crowded street. One of those influencers, Savannah Hernandez, called on ICE in an October 19th post on X to come to the neighborhood and arrest the vendors. On October 21st, 9 African immigrants suspected of being undocumented were taken into custody as a part of the operation, which officials said was focused on criminal activity relating to selling counterfeit goods, according to a statement from the Department of Homeland Security. New protests took place Tuesday and Wednesday night in New York. City council members and religious leaders held a press conference urging Donald Trump not to deploy the military or additional federal agents to New York, as he has in other major Democratic cities like Portland, Chicago, and Los Angeles. In those cities, protesters have been filming ICE operations, which they claim rely on racial profiling and detain many immigrants with no criminal record.
I've had a lot of dealings with President Trump, and there's only one way to deal with him. He puts his finger in your chest, and you have to put your finger right back in his chest. I've actually had this situation with ICE interfering in New York before. It was upstate New York where ICE just showed up and started to take action. And I called the president, and I went down to the White House, and I said, that doesn't work in New York. You don't send ICE in without coordinating with our police. It's not smart, it's duplicative, and it's dangerous. We don't need ICE to do quality of life crimes. We don't need them to worry about illegal vendors. That's a basic policing function for NYPD, consumer affairs, etc. I would have called the president and I would have said, look, you're way out of bounds, they're way out of bounds, call them back or I'm going to have the NYPD step in and stop them because this is not their jurisdiction. You're in the city of New York.
ICE is a reckless entity that cares little for the law and even less for the people that they're supposed to serve. What we need to be doing here in our city is to end the chapter of collaboration between City Hall and the federal government, which we've seen under Mayor Adams. What we need to do is actually pass the street vending reform bills that have been in the city council, some of which that this mayor has actually overridden. That's an example of how we can both protect street vendors, ensure quality of life, and leave no stone unturned in delivering for the people of the city, as opposed to working with a president who is looking to declare war on those same people.
Unlike both of my adversaries, I patrolled that area many times, Church and Canal. And as you said, Errol, that activity has been going on for a long time. Selling the knockoff, sometimes stolen contraband by a series of people. The local 5th Precinct, they make arrests when they have obviously cause to do so, and they complain that they have to release them because of no cash bail, of which both of my adversaries are in favor of, and I'm not. The feds should not have stepped into this situation. There is not communication between the local authorities and the feds. This is a matter that should have been left up to the NYPD. But we can't tolerate citizens attacking our federal law enforcement forces in the street because then that will just lead to anarchy.
ICE was out there rounding up illegal street vendors in New York City. You know how they be over there on Canal Street with all those counterfeit goods. Brother, I got a deal for you, brother. You know, you could barely walk around because there's merch everywhere, right? I feel bad for the people that work in that location because those illegal street vendors with those counterfeit goods make it difficult for you to work in those locations. Look, brother, man, I'm just trying to get to work. I don't want to buy none of your counterfeit stuff. There's Timo and DHS Gate, whatever that place is, right? So a lot of New Yorkers were shocked coming off the subway because they didn't see any of the street vendors. They was like, what's going on? We could walk freely. We could go to our work without being harassed. Yeah, that's what happened, y'all. ICE, ATF, and the FBI had an operation rounding up them street vendors selling those counterfeit goods, and that's a federal offense. One dude got spicy with them, and they had to lock him up real quick, right? Oh, New York PD, they want to let y'all know that they didn't have no parts in that operation because they don't want y'all protesting or throwing rocks or something like that. But yeah, New Yorkers, they happy that happened. Like, man, clear the streets, right? We want some real authentic stuff.
ICE is trying to kidnap our neighbors off the streets. I was standing in a crosswalk. We cannot stand as New Yorkers.
If you haven't seen this video, it's ICE going to Canal Street in New York City. Canal Street is very popular in New York City for selling a lot of really good fake stuff, like very authentic looking fake stuff, fake designer bags, fake watches, fake, you name it. So it's understandable to know why ICE went to Canal Street. It's filled with a lot of people hustling, selling fake merchandise. So that's why I made the comment on the video saying ICE went to Canal Street and all they got was one white dude who clearly makes $500,000 a year minimum. Like, hey, you see a white dude with that build, that outfit, that confidence, he probably owns part of Manhattan. They also apprehended this dude in another video who had like the most obvious New York accent. He was like, I was born in Kings County Hospital. I saw in the comments that apparently the number of people detained is several and that they caught some protesters who had attacked law enforcement. I'd argue it wasn't that effective.
Everybody keep tagging me in this video.
You get filmed in the film that didn't have this the officers of space. Kings County Hospital, Brooklyn.
Where the ICE agents run down on this black dude, right? They handcuff him up and he starts speaking perfect English. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from New York. Brooklyn is Brooklyn. And they just uncuff him, right? One of the other officers walked up and was like, let this dude go. People keep tagging me in this video to try to prove that. Look, they're arresting black people. They're not arresting black people. That's Canal Street where all the Africans are selling the fake Louis bags and Gucci bags. That's why they ran down on his ass, because he was over there with them. He just didn't run when they came. So they grabbed him. He started speaking perfect English. I was born in Brooklyn. One of the other agents walked up and was like, man, let this nigga go. See, that's the difference. You can tell a black American as soon as he starts speaking. As soon as we start talking, they already know shit on the bus. I'm one of y'all. Let me go. And that's exactly what happened to this man in this video. So I don't understand what y'all trying to prove. People in the comments was like, look, they're racially profiling people. If the fucking Africans are on Canal Street selling all the fake stuff and then it's a black dude with them, and mind you, is not cleaned up or dressed well either. He looked just like one of their ass.
When he didn't run, they just grabbed him. It wasn't rough. It wasn't tumble. They let him go. So I don't understand what y'all trying to prove. Look, they are getting Black Americans. They're not. Okay? They're not. And we can keep going back and forth with this for however long y'all want to. All right? Black Americans are not being deported. Point blank, period. Homeboy in the video said he didn't even show him ID. So I'm just saying, y'all got to stop with the fear mongering, man, the race baiting, because at the end of the day, look, man, ICE has a job to do, and they're going to run down on whoever they run down on. If you Americans, show them your ID, go on with your day. If not, your ass is getting out of here, period.
Did you guys see what happened to ICE when they decided to roll up to New York City? ICE showed up to New York City to pick up the Canal Street vendors, but they weren't expecting all these New Yorkers to join in on the streets and start following them and chanting and calling them names and giving them the finger. They weren't expecting that because New York is different. You thought that it was going to be like Portland. You thought the New Yorkers are going to be wearing inflatable costumes and doing the cha-cha slide outside, but you were wrong. You were wrong because New York started pulling up in full force, and they were coming out of everywhere. They were coming out of businesses. They were coming out of their jobs to form this mob around the ICE agents. And the ICE agents had to walk back to their little van and retreat back into the building because they were scared. Because they were scared. This ain't Portland, Poppy. This ain't California. This is New York. And you're going to find out, okay? You're going to find out what it's like to be persecuted, okay? New Yorkers ain't going to put up with this. And every day that you're there, there's going to be more. There's going to be more New Yorkers, and they're going to come out, and they're going to yell shame, and they're going to give you the finger, and they're not going to tolerate you being in their city, okay? What you think this is? No, Poppy, you found out today.
Okay, my friends, I was just driving down the street. I was Ubering, and I saw this huge market of African.
If you're on Canal Street and you're not buying some red snapper, lobster, or a fucking bag with some sunglasses, then what are you doing? Why are you here?
Migrants selling all of these bags on this sidewalk. The sidewalk was actually completely full of people, so I was like, okay, pull over, let me see what's going on.
Now, did you know, in about 48 hours after she posted that shit, they raided Canal Street. Fucking tourists. Stay out.
Yo, so ICE, I don't know if y'all noticed what was going on, but ICE done hit Canal Street. ICE done hit New York City, like out of nowhere. Like, they just came suddenly. And it hit Canal Street. If you know anything about Canal Street, you know, they have these illegal immigrants out there who like sell purses and, you know, jewelry and all kinds of stuff like wallets. And they are illegal, and they also doing, you know, they sell they're doing some illegal vending. But you know, they also have records, you know, records, robbery, assault. And ICE, man, you know, they was targeted. I mean, they should have known they was targeted. ICE knows where you at. They know where you at. And they raided Canal. I don't know why I keep calling it Canary. But they raided Canal Street. They hit Canal Street hard in New York City. And nobody knew they was coming. You know how they usually announce, like, you know, they announced Chicago, they was going to hit Chicago. But New York, they just came out the blue, like boom, when they was right there. But all I gotta say is Jersey is gonna get hit too. See, right now I'm in Jersey. I'm a Jersey resident. We about to get hit with ICE. After this election, or maybe like a little bit before this election, Jersey gonna get hit. ICE is gonna hit Jersey. You know, if Jack Ciccharelli, well, either way, if Jack Ciccharelli, you know, wins the election, you know, it's going to be more of a, it's not going to be a headache for the federal government. But they about to hit Jersey too.
I am here on Canal Street in New York City, where ICE did their most public raid in New York City to date. Now, this all seems to have really started when, over the weekend, Turning Point USA's Savannah Hernandez was Ubering through New York City and discovered Canal Street.
This is Savannah Hernandez in New York City. And okay, my friends, I was just driving down the street. I was Ubering and I saw this huge market of African migrants selling all of these bags on this sidewalk.
If you don't know what Canal Street is, it's a very famous open-air market here in New York that's been around since right after World War II. It's where people sell like knockoff handbags and Rolexes and stuff. It's fun. It's a staple of New York City. This is like someone coming to New York and calling the cops because they saw a scary 300-foot green lady in the harbor.
Yet I've just never seen this. Maybe this is a common thing.
And she also says that she talked to people and they're from Senegal.
They're all from Senegal.
She said it in such a way I Googled, what did Senegal do? In the caption of the video, she posts that there's about 20 to 30 illegal immigrants here. Now, she didn't check any ID, she can just tell. She ends the post with, perhaps ICE should go check out this street corner. That post went super viral. It got 4.3 million views. And then yesterday at around 3 o'clock, ICE agents showed up with tanks and I guess answered Savannah's request. They went down the street, not just stopping vendors, but just stopping anyone who looked African. It did not even matter if you're from New York, you were getting stopped.
You can film there.
They arrested a guy that's been here for 15 years. As they were pulling him away, he was begging them to let him call his mom. I mean, the NYPD has done raids on Canal Street before, but this was such an escalation and so extreme that even they had to immediately put out a statement like, this was not us, we didn't do anything. This seems to be the first of these types of large ICE raids that we've been seeing around the country to come to New York. But the difference is that New York is so densely populated that people can immediately show up and start protesting. Which is fun, because New Yorkers protesting are hilarious.
Look at this big dummy.
It's not clear how many people are arrested, but I think I can speak for all New Yorkers when I say definitely worth it. Even one knockoff handbag could hurt the profit margin of the $365 billion Louis Vuitton company. And unlicensed merchandise is only all right if it's a sick Blue Lives Matter Batman pin. For me personally, I know my great-grandparents didn't move to New York City from Ireland just to see immigrants try to make a living. But yeah, there's definitely going to be more raids and more protests to come. I'll try to cover all of that, but just for the time being, you should know you can apparently order ICE raids off of Twitter, and guys in Monster energy drinks hats will come and just start throwing people around. ICE is trying to kidnap our neighbors off the streets. Well, to walk in or out. I was standing in a crosswalk. We cannot stand as New Yorkers for this to happen.
I'm here on Canal Street, which was until recently New York's infamous open-air counterfeit market. I say until recently because an influencer came, recorded it, posted it on Twitter, which prompted an ICE raid clearing out the sidewalk. Defenders of the ICE raid claimed that the peddlers were imposing upon the commons. They were making it so that you couldn't walk through the sidewalk easily. That's true, but what they don't say is that the real imposition on the commons is not the peddlers who've been here for literally centuries. It's this car sewer. Canal Street is 8 lanes wide. 2 of them are sidewalks, and the other 6 are for cars, which essentially act like a highway. And this is one of the most dangerous places to be a pedestrian. People get struck and killed all the time. Not to mention the insane noise that you're hearing behind me right now. This is one of the worst places to be as a human being in Lower Manhattan, and no one wants to do anything about it. It's true that our sidewalks should be clear, and it's true that vendors should have permits, but the biggest impediment to nice living in New York City is this insane car culture that we have allowed to devour our commons. Peddlers are Lindy. They've always been there. These cars have not not always been here. Peddlers do not kill you. These cars kill people all the time on Canal Street. Just try being a pedestrian here. You're constantly contending with traffic. They're driving into the crosswalks. They're cutting people off, cutting each other off. It is mayhem to walk through here, and it's intolerable. So if the federal government wants to get rid of people who are just making a living, maybe they should really do something about this.
ICE agents have officially hit Canal Street. The one street in New York where everything being sold is counterfeit has now been shut down. Federal agents swept through Canal Street earlier yesterday to take down multiple illegal immigrants selling things illegally. According to reports, 9 people were arrested, many with prior criminal records that were very long, from trafficking, forgery, assault, and everything you could think of. ICE also says that several of these 9 people had already had orders to be removed from the country but never left. Now, there's a lot of people in New York City saying that they are happy that Canal Street will now probably be safe again because as of today, nobody was really selling anything counterfeit there. But there's also a lot of people saying that these guys should not have been prosecuted by ICE and they should be allowed to make a living. So let me know, do you think this is right or wrong? Because starting today, Canal Street will always look different.
We know that ye serve in Nazi, but the ladies of Judah. You're kidnapping a New Yorker in Greece. South.
ICE agents have officially hit Canal Street. The one street in New York where everything being sold is counterfeit has now been shut down. Federal agents swept through Canal Street earlier yesterday to take down multiple illegal immigrants selling things illegally. According to reports, 9 people were arrested, many with prior criminal records that were very long, from trafficking, forgery, assault, and everything you could think of. ICE also says that several of these 9 people had already had orders to be removed from the country but never left. Now, there's a lot of people in New York City saying that they are happy that Canal Street will now probably be safe again because as of today, nobody was really selling anything counterfeit there. But there's also a lot of people saying that these guys should not have been prosecuted by ICE and they should be allowed to make a living. So let me know, do you think this is right or wrong? Because starting today, Canal Street will always look different.
I'm here on Canal Street and there are no signs of any street vendors after yesterday's raid. This street's completely clear. This street as well. The main spot is completely cleared as well. No signs of counterfeit scammers or drug dealers on the streets of New York City here on Canal Street today.
All right, y'all. Wow. That's the emptiest I've ever seen Canal Street look. I ain't never seen it look that empty before. So maybe it will change everything, because according to Donald Trump, these ICE operations are ongoing. So they're not going to stop around the country. They're going to go on for the entire, now he got less than 4 years left in office. So as long as Donald Trump is the sitting president, these raids will go on. So yeah, I'm not surprised, but yeah, that Turning Point USA Latina. And see, this is the reason why nobody from our community will go out and march with y'all. You see how she just pointed at the African illegals that were out there selling. There's a lot of illegals out there, not just them. But that's all she was concerned about. Open your eyes, Africa, because they don't like you either. So y'all, this is my final live stream for today. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. I want to thank you for your support for my channel. And this time I actually live stream on not only YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. which I have that Twitch account, but I have not really used it, but I used it today for my live stream. So this was great. Everybody, please enjoy your weekend. Be on the lookout for the Bible study tomorrow. And I do have some more live streams. And by the way, also a current event at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. Haven't done that one in a while, so I think it's long overdue. So y'all have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful night, and those of you that are Hebrew, Shabbat Shalom.